This story is from Lumisette Narratives, where love is examined beneath the surface. Most couples believe love fails because of betrayal, or money, or fading attraction. But the truth is far quieter. Most relationships end because of one emotional skill almost no one ever learns. And by the time they realize it exists, it's usually too late. Lena and Omar were the kind of couple people admired. They didn't fight in public. They didn't insult each other. They handled problems calmly. They were called mature. Friends said, "You two communicate so well." But communication is not the same as connection. Lena believed she was expressive. Omar believed he was attentive. Both were wrong in ways neither understood yet. They talked often. They solved practical problems efficiently. But something important was missing, and neither of them had the language to name it. They rarely argued, not because there was nothing to argue about, but because neither of them wanted to be misunderstood. Lena avoided saying things that felt too emotional. She softened her words. She edited her pain. Omar avoided saying things that felt too vulnerable. He explained instead of revealing. He reasoned instead of feeling. So disagreements became discussions. Pain became logic. Needs became suggestions. And slowly, intimacy began to thin. Not loudly, quietly. Here is the skill most couples never learn: emotional, attunement. Not listening, not talking, not compromising. Attunement. It is the ability to sit with someone's emotion without fixing it, defending against it, or minimizing it. And almost no one is taught how to do this. Omar believed love meant solving problems, so when Lena expressed sadness, he offered solutions. Lena believed love meant understanding, so when Omar explained himself, she felt unheard. They weren't fighting. They were missing each other. The first real crack appeared on an ordinary evening. Lena came home quiet. She told Omar she felt lonely lately. Not alone lately. Omar responded gently. "You're not lonely," he said. "We spend time together. We talk every day." He meant reassurance. She felt erased. What he didn't understand was that she wasn't asking for correction. She was asking to be felt, and she didn't know how to explain that without sounding demanding. So she smiled and said nothing more. Omar noticed Lena. Withdrawing, he tried harder. He planned dates. He checked in more. He asked logical questions, but every attempt felt slightly off, because emotional attunement is not about effort, it's about presence. Lena wanted him to say, "That sounds painful. Tell me more." Instead, he said, "Let's fix this." She didn't want to be fixed. She wanted to be held in her truth. Then the twist came. Omar started struggling at work. He felt unsteady, inadequate, ashamed one night. He admitted he felt like he was failing. Lena listened, and without realizing it, she did the same thing he always did. She reassured, she explained, she minimized. "You're doing fine," she said. "It's just stress." Omar felt the same quiet emptiness she had felt for years, and in that moment, something painful clicked. They weren't bad partners. They were emotionally untrained. That night, silence filled the room differently. They both realized something unsettling. They had been speaking around emotions, not into them. They knew facts, they knew routines, they knew roles, but they didn't know how to sit inside discomfort together. No, one had taught them how. Not their parents, not school, not culture. They had learned how to survive. Emotions, not how to share them. They tried to change. They read. They talked differently. They slowed conversations. But emotional habits are deep. Years of fixing, explaining, avoiding, and minimizing don't disappear. Easily, Lena felt exhausted, teaching what she was still learning. Omar felt ashamed, realizing how often he had missed her. Love was still there, but ease was gone, and that matters more than people admit. They didn't end with hatred, they ended with sadness. A mutual recognition that love alone doesn't build emotional safety. They hugged longer than usual the last time, not because they didn't care, but because they finally understood what they had been missing, and understanding doesn't always arrive in time. Emotional attunement means saying "I see you" instead of "here's a solution," staying present instead of becoming defensive, listening without preparing a response, allowing emotion without controlling it. It feels simple, it is not, because it requires us to tolerate discomfort without escaping it, and most people never learn how. If this story feels uncomfortably familiar, pause. Ask yourself, when someone shares pain with me, do I fix or do I feel? When I share pain, do I soften it to stay safe? Who taught me how to handle emotion and who didn't? Because love doesn't fail from lack of words, it fails from lack of emotional presence. This story was shared with you by Lumisette Narratives, where emotional depth matters more than perfection. If this story resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe to Lumisette Narratives. More stories are coming, stories about love, psychology, connection, and the skills no one teaches us. Until next time, sometimes the most important lessons are the quietest ones.